every project knows they need a market maker, but not every person knows, whenever you're trading on an exchange, that you're actually, I would say 80%, 90% are trading against a market maker who is making the market more liquid.
Today I sit down with co-founder of Reform DAO, the first market-making and liquidity-providing DAO leveraging AI. What problem does Reform DAO solve? Or what's unique about this that wasn't in the market that you guys brought? We talk about the growth Reform DAO has been seeing.
Over the last few months, we've made already a total volume of 8 billion.
Even the potential of Reform DAO through the Bitcoin dips. Would you say, is it fair to say in a way that companies like Reform DAO are almost bear market proof? Because whether the price goes up or down, you're just sort of providing the market making. And watch today's entire video, because while much of the crypto market doesn't even really understand the role market making plays, if/when successful, Reform DAO will be where? This is everything you need to know about the potential of Reform DAO. Thank you to Reform for sponsoring today's conversation. And let's start, Jess, with your background.
Sure. I think, as with everything, it's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, I think also for everyone in the space who, has been here for a while. I've been here for, I think, 7 years now. It's been a, bumpy road. A lot of things happened along the way. And I think, yeah, it all started off for me just, finding out about Bitcoin, diving into it, figuring out like how the whole financial system works, what Bitcoin's place there is. And yeah, actually that got me more and more intrigued in actually crypto in general. Actually, the first 3 years, just did a lot of research myself. And yeah, just, got to know more and more about the space. I think after that, I joined HODL. So HODL is actually one of the largest investment funds in the Netherlands. I started there as a technical and fundamental analyst, evolved my role to the head of trading, and actually currently still holding my position as a chief investment officer there. That's also, I'm a partner there. But next to that, yeah, we of course also got to Reform, which is actually something that came out of existence because yeah, we have algorithms trading in like a separate company. We have the knowledge of HODL whereby we do the fund management, and all of that combined actually, yeah, made us create Reform. But I'll dive into the reason and everything after well, it's the appropriate time.
Well, for somebody who's never heard of Reform, what is it?
So Reform is actually a market making and liquidity providing DAO. Why we've actually created it is more that, market making in general is the underlying infrastructure of the overall financial structure of crypto. And yeah, we just see that a lot of things, of market making happens, behind closed doors. Not a lot of people know from it or, actually what the proceeds are that are being made over there, because those actually go into, the billions, for like the larger market makers. But actually, yeah, every project knows they need a market maker, but not every person knows, whenever you're trading on an exchange, that you're actually, I would say 80%, 90% are trading against a market maker who is making the market more liquid. So I think that's, where Reform came from. And actually, yeah, the core vision there is to, give access to people and also to the proceeds that are possible to be made in market making, that are be funneled back to the Reform token. So that's how we structured it and, yeah, how we actually came to where we are today.
So a market maker is the entity that sets the buyer with the seller, makes the market.
Exactly. Yeah.
In Uniswap or in DeFi, there's automated market makers. In centralized
Yeah.
exchanges, there's individuals. This is DeFi. This is automated.
Yeah, so what we mainly focus at is the market making on the centralized exchanges. So we have a very robust infrastructure built for yeah, very low latency, like everything like that. That's been built over the last 5 years already. And that's just a very important part whenever you're market making on a centralized exchange. As you say, decentralized exchange market making is actually automated by the AMMs. And I think that's, a very nice progression of how, market making actually got to where it is today. There's still a lot of development needed to actually get it to the same level as that market makers are, executing things on the centralized exchanges. But I think there it's already something that's quite unique for everyone to just yeah, have a liquidity pool and everything starts trading. But for us, yeah, we mainly focus on the centralized exchange side, but we also do the arbitrage to make prices equal on all the yeah, different exchanges between the decentralized exchange and the centralized exchange. And also, yeah, do the designated market making for projects. But yeah, we'll can dive into that in a bit.
And what Like when you first started this, what problem does Reform DAO solve? Or what's unique about this that wasn't in the market that you guys brought?
Yeah, so the most unique part is actually that, well, people are able to benefit from, a market maker being set up and like, proceeds being yeah, funneled to actually the buybacks of the token. So that's one thing. Of course, also a DAO treasury that's being, more that's just gaining in like size all the time by all the projects and the liquidity provision that we do in general. And yeah, I think also what's a very unique point about Reform is that the community is providing liquidity. That means that we can put quite competitive rates into the market, which really makes us, in line with the bigger market makers, to also provide a good service for, yeah, projects that actually need a market maker. So that's, also funnels a lot of deal flow because they're interested. We have a community, we have people involved, that actually can, have a benefit for the project, and the project actually gets a good service, whereby we guide them through the whole process from, listing and like launch pads and like market making strategy, which generally speaking is like the gate where they need to go through, because whenever they list, there's a lot of people that want to take take the benefit of, yeah, the project. And yeah, we just make sure that we guide them the right way with also doing the market making for them.
So average people can help provide liquidity in this, and is there a risk to them?
Yeah, so the thing is, whenever you provide liquidity, you actually buy Reform tokens through our bonding treasury. So we have a bonding treasury where people can buy Reform tokens with a discount ranging between 5 and 40% on market price. That means that you need to lock your tokens. They will be locked in the staking treasury, and actually you gain staking rewards in Reform. Actually, all the proceeds that we then make from the liquidity provision, the designated market making, but also other endeavors that are being taken care of by, yeah, the DAO and the overall ecosystem, will funnel back to the buybacks of the Reform token, making sure that the token, yeah, keeps going up, and eventually the people that provided the liquidity will benefit from that.
So this is a utility token. Is that a good classification? And what are all the benefits of the token?
Yeah, so one that's the most important one is the value accrual to the token. So yeah, as you see, all the revenue being generated, we've made over the last 6 months 500K in revenue, which is just funneled back to buybacks of the token. So that's one important one. Another one is the governance side of things. So we also think it's important that the percentages that we lay out, for example, like in terms of buyback, 65% and then 25% or 35% right now is going to operations treasury. And those kind of decisions can be, decided upon through the governance structure. A third thing that we're currently exploring to give more utility to well, staking was also obviously, as I mentioned, one of the things, but the latest thing that we're actually developing is like we would like to call it a do-it-your-own market making tool, whereby people can run like grids and like different algorithms that we've actually created in our infrastructure, and they can actually use that on chain. So yeah, as you mentioned, you have of course AMMs, but those are like automated, like on a specific range whenever you see like Uniswap v2. But we can, for example, with the grids that we run, people can just trade on the volatility and the volume of especially lower market cap coins. So this is like a Telegram bot whereby people have all these tools available, and we will put more utility to the Reform token there for getting like discounts in fees, getting like special activities ongoing whenever you have the token to really get more attention from like also the B2C side, as we like to call it, because yeah, Reform originally was the people that can benefit from it, can leverage like the community side, but also benefit of course from a token value accrual. But on the other side, yeah, we also thought it was very important that people can actually do something with the token and use a tool that's, well, at the moment we're also using.
I love the updates you put out on the Twitter, and I'll link it down below. Highly encourage the people check it out, just because you're posting about the growth and where you came from and where you've been. Like, could you touch on some of that growth you've seen in the last few months?
Yeah, so over the last few months, we've seen like quite an acceleration when it comes to, for example, volume. So over the last few months, we've made already a total volume of 8 billion. So that's, yeah, since we started 6 months ago, in total, we made like 250 million trades. So, yeah, it's going quite fast. Let's put it like that through the engine. And yeah, as I mentioned, the 500,000 in revenue, and that's all from the liquidity provision part. Like the designated market making part, we now signed with like 8 projects. So 6 on a loan option model, 2 in a retainer model, and we're actually expanding that as we speak. And that's also all going to funnel back to the revenue and actually to the buybacks of the Reform token. And then, of course, as we discussed, just so it's more of the Telegram bot where people can really use it and then make sure that they can. Yeah, we also want to grow, of course, the volumes that are being traded there by all the retail or like all the people that think that the tool is actually useful to them. So there's a lot of things ongoing. We're actually true builders from art. And we like to, create innovative things in the space that also really bring value to not only people, but also to projects. And in the end, of course, make a synergetic ecosystem altogether.
What's the biggest competition? Is it other blue chip market makers in the space?
Yeah, I think that's actually the competition. I would say, it's just very Um, they're approaching it, of course, from a different angle. They're a centralized entity who is just, providing a service, and they, need to make money for their shareholders. That's always how I also present it to projects. And what's interesting there is actually that it's subtracting value out of the space. And in our case, it's all, funneled back to, well, one part is the reform token, but the other part is also the DAO treasury. And that makes sure that the DAO treasury is always used to suffice more liquidity in the space to actually make the space a better place. And I think that's a different philosophy, whereby we see that we're making the space a better place and not, let's say, subtracting value solely for our own benefit in that case.
I saw on Twitter you posted expanding across Europe. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, so as we speak, we're actually getting listed on Bitpanda. We've actually set up last week we actually listed on Bit2Me, like a Spanish broker. This week is Bitpanda, and we're actually making dedicated communities with agencies in the countries that those brokers actually are operating to really make a more of a local presence for people that want to speak their native language. And also, just to make sure that they have a comfortable feeling when they actually join the community. Because there's enough people that are not very comfortable speaking English or whatever. So we really want to now expand in Europe, but also want to expand that through the same sort of mechanism to other countries in like Asia, Middle East, US, like those kind of locations.
What's the roadmap for 2025?
So 2025 is actually fully focused on building out like the current portfolio. So as I mentioned, we have 8 projects at the moment, but we're really anticipating. We've also put it out in our roadmap that we posted on X. That we actually aim for at least 50 projects, but actually behind the scenes, I already told the BD team that I'm aiming for 100 projects. So you always need to be ambitious, right? And on that side, of course, also gaining more and more users into the Luigi bot that actually see the value in the Telegram bot is called Luigi Bot that actually see the value in the tools that we provide to actually make trading a lot more easy for people that they do not have to depict the bottoms or decide upon the bottoms or the tops and really need to pull the trigger at that point, but actually can leverage tools that make their experience a lot better and smoother, whereby they, for example, with the grid bot just keep on trading and make realized profits in between. So that's on the roadmap for this year, really growing the portfolio. On the other side, getting Luigi bot where where we want it to be with getting a lot of more users, but also, of course, more and more features, making it technologically more advanced. And same actually goes for the market making to just keep optimizing that. We also have a DAO treasury, so we also have governance proposals. So there's also a lot of opportunities when it comes to people who are willing to build something, especially with a relation towards market making, trading, those kind of aspects. That they can put out proposals that the community can actually talk about, and then eventually it can go to a voting so that we actually start building it. So I think that's also of course the philosophy of DAO itself, whereby people can contribute, they can make proposals, and we can build how crazy we want it in the end. Of course, with some legal limitations, but it's always up for we're always up for innovation.
Right now, with the altcoin daily audience, are you more looking for like B2C or B2B? Because in the Altcoin Daily audience, we have project founders that have projects, and we have just regular people investors.
Yeah, I think, it's actually both sides. So one side is really the people that are currently listening. I think that's really the Luigi bot, you start using the Telegram bot where people can actually, leverage upon the tools. And on the other side is actually the B2B side, since you guys are, of course, having a lot of projects coming over, that, are in need of a market maker. And then, preferably a market maker that guides them in the right way and does not want to subtract the value out of the things that they're doing. So I think, both sides is actually very interesting for us. So, let's also see if we can do something there. But yeah, I think that's the two core focuses that we have. Mainly focused initially on the B2B side, but now also expanding towards B2C to provide the whole spectrum of tools all related to our core business, which is market making and like trading.
And for clarity, the Luigi bot would tell me as an individual about trades, good trades, or what does that do?
So it has actually like features. So you can just the parameters you can fill it in. And then you can, as I mentioned, it's currently in the phase of that the grid bot is live and like buying, sniping, those kind of features. But we also really want to expand it to other features as well, so that it's not only interesting for individuals, but also for project founders and like developers who actually launch the token only on the decentralized exchange.
Chess, what haven't we covered, man? I feel we hit the basics, we hit the roadmap. What else?
Yeah, I think, for reform, it's really all about, well, as the name states, reforming, in this case, first the market making industry, whenever that has taken place, which we're aiming for in this year, and of course, the coming years ahead to keep continuing doing that, is also to reform on other sides. And I think that's really where, the value of the DAO comes in, where we actually encourage people to be involved, to join the community, and to actually, contribute to the overall of reform to change things for the better and reform the things that are in need to be reformed. So I think that's a core message. And of course, we're always here to make sure that that reform that will keep flourishing and that it will get where we want it to be.
Would you say, is it fair to say, in a way, that companies like Reform DAO are almost bear market proof? Because whether the price goes up or down, you're just sort of providing the market making.
Yeah, so I think, market making is always necessary, and that's a little bit the thing, right? With projects, they have listings on specific exchanges, and they always need the liquidity on those exchanges because otherwise they get delisted. We actually got a lot of projects that, exchanges are currently like making the requirements higher, and that also means that projects are in need of a better market maker or a market maker that does the KPIs or like the execution on the better way. And that actually brings, forward nice opportunities. And I think that's what you're referring to. In a bear market, all those projects still need a market maker. And I think therefore the business will never die out. Of course, there will be projects that unfortunately will not make it. But that's part of the business, right? That's the whole entrepreneurial journey that everyone who is creating a project in the cryptocurrency industry is actually on.
I would love, and my final question, if you would just give me like a 5 year outlook. If slash when successful, Reform DAO will be where?
Yeah. So I think, within 5 years, as I mentioned, this year we already want to capture quite a big chunk of the market because we feel like we're putting something new, and like special in the market where projects actually have a benefit from. But in the coming 5 years, that's really, our core goal there is to become, one of the main market makers within the cryptocurrency space and actually providing market making on a fair and transparent way, whereby all KPIs and all, promises that are actually made to the projects are actually being fulfilled. Since that's something that is actually the core reason why we've made reform, so that people have access to it, of course, and can benefit from market making in general, but also that actually all the agreements that are made with the projects are being followed up and actually, being held accountable to make sure that they have the liquidity and the depth and like the spreads, everything that's promised to them, because that's as I mentioned, one of the key things that we figured out speaking to a lot of projects was not always the case.
As a market maker, do you feel you have any insight on knowing like a Bitcoin top or when things are getting too hypey? Is there any inside knowledge you think you see?
I think the funny part there is that with Reform we're still growing, so we are not the ones that unfortunately are well, unfortunately that are making the markets, like especially on the Bitcoin point of view. There's a lot of capital needed for that. Well, in 5 years, I should say we are. But yeah, I think that's where we're building towards to. In terms of insights, yeah, I think mainly on a designated market making point of view. With market making, you're really trying to predict the fair price and calculate the fair price. And that's, yeah, we're also enhancing that like with AI, like to actually make those fair price determination actually better and improve it. Because the better you can determine that, actually the more money you can make on the spreads that are actually being in the order book. So it's a very interesting business to be in. It's very difficult to predict, if a Bitcoin top is going to be in or like a bottom. But I think, yeah, in like the next coming microseconds or like milliseconds is actually you are able to predict that. And yeah, that's why, especially with like, the fair price determination, you can really quote the right way to, make money for the market making side of things. So it's a very interesting space to be in. And there's always a need for optimization because, yeah, you're competing with the best of the best, of course. And we really feel like that's, well, something that we also need to abide by in that sense.
Jess, thank you so much for your time. Links for everything down below. I encourage the audience to check it out. Final thoughts for the Altcoin Daily Army.
Yeah, so for the Altcoin Daily Army, check out Reform. That's one thing for sure. Join the movement. Start also in that case using Luigi Bot to actually leverage upon the tools that we have, but also start having Reform and actually benefit from the buybacks that we're doing. And of course, yeah, get into the community. If you have any questions when it comes to market making, we're all about transparency, so we want to explain everyone how it works from an educational point of view, so that everyone knows, like, there's more to it than you just see the order books. There's a lot of, story actually behind and underneath that.